A brilliant black student achieves the highest score in state chemistry competition history, but her racist teacher refuses to believe she earned it legitimately. He's convinced she had unauthorized help, insisting there's no way she could have outperformed students from elite private schools. But when a shocking truth emerges, what happens next will leave you speechless. Before we dive into today's story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The chemistry lab at Riverside High School was unusually quiet for a Monday morning. 18-year-old Maya Johnson sat at her black-topped lab bench, staring at the official letter from the State Chemistry Competition Committee. The bold numbers seemed to blur before her eyes. 100%. Perfect score. First place in state history. She should have been celebrating, but the sick feeling in her stomach told her this victory would come with a price. Miss Johnson. The voice was sharp, cold. Mr. Stanford Whitmore, head of the chemistry department, approached her desk with measured steps. His expensive suit and polished shoes clicked against the linoleum floor as he stopped directly in front of her. Yes, Mr. Whitmore? Maya folded the letter carefully, placing it in her notebook. We need to discuss your results from the state competition. Maya felt the weight of every gaze in the lab. Her classmates had stopped their morning preparations to listen. Some looked curious, others seemed to sense the tension building. Is there a problem? Maya asked, though she already knew the answer from his expression. Mr. Whitmore crossed his arms, his gray eyes cold as steel. I've been teaching chemistry for 30 years. In all that time, no student from a public school, especially not from this district, has ever achieved a perfect score. The lab fell completely silent. Maya's lab partner, Keisha, reached over and squeezed her hand supportively under the table. I studied very hard, Mr. Whitmore. You know how dedicated I've been. Dedicated? Mr. Whitmore interrupted, his voice rising. Miss Johnson, students from Manchester Prep and St. That Augustine Academy, schools with million-dollar laboratories and PhD-level instructors, have never scored higher than 93%. Maya felt heat rising in her cheeks. She knew exactly what he was implying. What exactly are you saying? Mr. Whitmore walked to the front of the lab, addressing the entire class now. I'm saying that this score is statistically impossible. Someone with your background, from this school, with our limited resources, couldn't possibly outperform students who've had every advantage. A murmur ran through the lab. Some students shifted uncomfortably. Others, like Blake Morrison from the wealthy part of town, smirked knowingly. Maya stood up slowly, her hands trembling slightly. My background? What does that have to do with my understanding of chemistry? Miss Johnson, let's be realistic, Mr. Whitmore said dismissively. Your previous test scores, while adequate, don't indicate this level of mastery. Something doesn't add up. Maybe, Maya said, her voice growing stronger, you just never believed I was capable of excellence. The tension in the room was palpable. Mr. Whitmore's face reddened. I don't appreciate your tone. What I believe is irrelevant. What matters are facts. The fact is I earned that score, Maya replied firmly. Did you? Mr. Whitmore challenged. Because I've already contacted the competition committee. I've requested a formal investigation into potential cheating. Gasps echoed through the lab. Keisha squeezed Maya's hand tighter. Maya felt like the air had been knocked out of her lungs. Cheating? She whispered. Academic dishonesty, Mr. Whitmore clarified. Unauthorized assistance, pre-knowledge of questions, use of prohibited materials. The committee will be conducting a thorough review. Maya's vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. You have no proof of any wrongdoing, don't I? Mr. Whitmore walked to his desk and pulled out a folder. Your grade point average is 3.7. Good, but not exceptional. You've never scored above 89% on any of my tests. Yet somehow, you outperformed students who've been groomed for academic excellence since kindergarten. Blake Morrison leaned back in his chair, clearly enjoying the spectacle. It does seem pretty suspicious, he said loud enough for everyone to hear. Maya whirled to face him. Suspicious? Or are you just upset that someone from the poor side of town beat your friends from the elite schools? Maya, Keisha whispered urgently, maybe we should. No, Maya interrupted, turning back to Mr. Sat Whitmore. I won't be silenced. For 3 years, you've overlooked me in this class. You've never called on me when I raised my hand. You've praised other students for answers I gave first. You've acted like I was invisible unless it was time to hand out detention for being 2 minutes late because I had to take 3 buses to get here." The lab was dead silent now. Mr. Whitmore's jaw tightened dangerously. "Miss Johnson, you're out of line." "Am I? Or am I finally speaking the truth?" Maya's voice carried throughout the lab. "You can't believe that a black girl from East Riverside could be smarter than your precious private school students. So instead of celebrating what should be a victory for this entire school, you're trying to destroy it." Mr. Whitmore slammed his hand on his desk. "That's enough. Report to Principal Garcia's office immediately. I'll be filing a formal complaint about your behavior, in addition to the investigation request." Maya gathered her books, her hands shaking with anger and adrenaline. As she walked toward the door, she heard whispers erupting behind her. "She's right, you know," Keisha said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Maya's brilliant. She tutors half the kids in this school." "That's enough, Miss Washington," Mr. Whitmore snapped. As Maya reached the door, she turned back one last time. "Mr. Whitmore, when the investigation proves I earned that score fairly, I hope you'll remember this moment." Principal Isabella Garcia's office was warm and welcoming, a stark contrast to the cold hostility Maya had just left. Dr. Garcia, a Latina woman in her early 50s, gestured for Maya to sit in one of the comfortable chairs across from her desk. "Maya, I've already heard from Mr. Whitmore," she began gently, "but I'd like to hear your side." Maya took a deep breath and recounted the morning's events. Dr. Garcia listened without interruption, occasionally taking notes. "This perfect score," Dr. Garcia said when Maya finished. "Can you walk me through how you prepared for the competition?" "I've been preparing for 2 years, Maya explained. "I started with old competition questions I found online. I borrowed college-level chemistry textbooks from the public library. When those weren't enough, I emailed professors at the community college asking for additional resources." Dr. Garcia raised an eyebrow. "You emailed college professors?" "Professor Williams at Riverside Community College has been mentoring me via email for the past year. She sends me practice problems and explains concepts that go beyond our high school curriculum." "And Mr. Whitmore was aware of this?" Maya shook her head bitterly. "I tried to tell him about my extra studies. He said I should focus on mastering the basics instead of getting ahead of myself." Dr. Garcia made another note. "Maya, I want you to know that I take these accusations very seriously, on both sides. No student should face discrimination, but academic integrity is also paramount." Before Maya could respond, Dr. Garcia's phone rang. She answered it briefly, then hung up with a surprised expression. That was Dr. Patricia Williams from the chemistry department at Riverside Community College. "She's on her way here." Maya's eyes widened. "She's coming here?" "Apparently, she heard about the investigation and wants to speak with us immediately." 20 minutes later, Dr. Williams, a distinguished black woman in her 60s, sat in Dr. Garcia's office reviewing Maya's competition materials. She wore a lab coat over professional attire and had brought a thick folder of documents. "Principal Garcia," Dr. Williams began, "I've been working with Maya for over a year. What she accomplished is extraordinary, but it's not surprising to anyone who knows her true capabilities." She opened her folder and spread out pages of emails, practice problems, and research projects. "Maya has been completing work at an advanced undergraduate level. She's helped me review my own research papers. Her understanding of organic chemistry mechanisms is better than most of my second-year college students." Dr. Garcia examined the documents carefully. "Dr. Williams, why didn't Mr. Whitmore know about your mentorship?" Dr. Williams's expression hardened. "Because I've heard about his teaching methods from other students who've come to our college. Maya isn't the first brilliant student he's overlooked or discouraged." At that moment, Maya's phone buzzed. It was a text from Keisha. "You need to see the news. Check Channel 7. Dr. Garcia noticed Maya's expression. "What is it?" Maya showed them the text. Dr. Garcia turned on the small TV in her office, switching to the local news station. The anchor was speaking. "Breaking story about allegations of discrimination at Riverside High School. The State Chemistry Competition Committee has issued a statement defending the integrity of their testing process and the outstanding achievement of student Maya Johnson." Maya's mouth fell open as her school photo appeared on screen. The anchor continued, "We'll have more on this developing story, including comments from Mr. Mistura, Jonathan Hayes, State Education Commissioner, after this break." Word spread through Riverside High like wildfire. By lunch, Maya found herself at the center of a media storm she never wanted. News vans lined the school parking lot, and reporters waited outside the building. In the cafeteria, reactions were mixed. Some students offered congratulations and support. Others whispered and pointed. Maya sat with Keisha and a few other friends, trying to ignore the stares. "This is insane," her friend Marcus said, scrolling through social media. "You're trending on Twitter. Justice for Maya is everywhere." "I never wanted this," Maya said quietly. "I just wanted to be recognized for my work." Blake Morrison approached their table with several of his friends. "Enjoying your 15 minutes of fame?" he asked with a sneer. "Blake, just leave her alone," Keisha warned. "Why should I? Everyone's acting like she's some kind of victim, but maybe Whitmore's right. Maybe she did cheat." Maya stood up slowly, her patience finally exhausted. "Blake, I've been beating you on tests since sophomore year. The only difference is now everyone can see it." "That's different. Those were just regular tests." "No, Blake. The only difference is that these results are public, and you can't handle that someone like me is smarter than someone like you." Before Blake could respond, Dr. Garcia's voice came over the intercom. "Maya Johnson, please report to the main office." The cafeteria fell silent as Maya gathered her things. As she walked past Blake's table, she heard him mutter, "Affirmative action strikes again." Maya stopped, turned around, and faced him with a steel gaze. "Blake, when this investigation proves I earned my score, you'll owe me an apology. But I'm not holding my breath." In the main office, Maya found Dr. Garcia with two people she didn't recognize, a professional-looking woman with a briefcase and a man in a suit. "Maya, Dr. Garcia said, this is Dr. Sandra Reynolds from the State Education Department and Mr. James Mitchell from the Chemistry Competition Committee." Dr. Reynolds stepped forward with a warm smile. "Miss Johnson, we've completed our preliminary investigation. We wanted to speak with you directly." Maya's heart pounded. "And?" Mr. Mitchell opened his briefcase and pulled out official documents. "Miss Johnson, not only have we found no evidence of cheating, we've discovered that your test contained several questions that were more difficult than the standard version." Maya blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" Dr. Reynolds explained. "The competition uses different versions of the test to prevent cheating. Yours contained advanced organic chemistry problems, typically reserved for college-level competitions. You solved them flawlessly." Maya stared at them in amazement. "So not only did I score 100%, but I did it on a harder test?" "Exactly," Mr. Mitchell confirmed, "which makes your achievement even more remarkable. We're recommending you for our advanced placement program at the State University." Dr. Garcia beamed. "Maya, congratulations. You've vindicated yourself completely." But Dr. Reynolds' expression grew serious. "There's more, Miss Johnson. During our investigation, we interviewed other students and reviewed Mr. Whitmore's patterns of grading and classroom behavior. We found evidence of systematic bias." Maya's breath caught. "What kind of evidence?" Mr. Mitchell pulled out another folder. Grade discrepancies, patterns of calling on certain students while ignoring others, and documented cases of discouraging minority students from advanced programs. 3 other students have come forward with similar experiences, Dr. Reynolds added. Mr. Whitmore's teaching credentials are under review. The next morning, Maya arrived at school to find protesters both supporting and opposing her outside the building. Signs reading "Support Maya" competed with others declaring "Stop playing the race card." Inside, she was surprised to find Mr. Whitmore waiting by her locker. He looked haggard, as if he hadn't slept. "Miss Johnson," he said quietly, "I owe you an apology." Maya studied his face carefully. She could see the weight of the past few days had taken its toll. "Do you?" she asked simply. Mr. Whitmore glanced around, then moved closer, lowering his voice. "I received the committee's full report last night. Not only did you score 100% on the advanced version, but you solved the bonus problem that 99% of students skip entirely." Maya waited for him to continue. "I was wrong," he said, the words seeming to pain him. "I let my assumptions cloud my judgment. You are exceptionally gifted, and I failed to recognize it." Mr. Whitmore, Maya said carefully, this isn't just about one test or one apology. You've spent 3 years making me feel like I didn't belong in advanced chemistry. He nodded slowly. You're right, and I'll have to live with that. Maya, I'm resigning from Riverside High. Maya was shocked. Resigning? The state investigation found patterns I can't defend. More importantly, I've realized I've done real harm to students like you, students who deserved better. Before Maya could respond, Keisha appeared at her side. Maya, you need to see this. She held up her phone, showing a live stream of a press conference. State Education Commissioner Hayes was at a podium with Dr. Williams and several other officials behind him. Miss Johnson's achievement represents the best of our educational system, Commissioner Hayes was saying. Her perfect score, earned on an advanced examination, demonstrates the potential that exists in every school when we properly nurture and support our students. The camera panned to show Dr. Thao Williams stepping forward. I am pleased to announce that the state university system is offering Miss Johnson a full scholarship to pursue chemistry at any of our campuses, with immediate placement in our honors program. Maya's phone started buzzing with text messages and calls. Around her, students had gathered to watch the live stream on their devices. Blake Morrison stood at the edge of the crowd, his expression unreadable. For a moment, Maya thought he might approach her, but he turned and walked away without a word. 2 months later, Maya stood on the stage of Riverside High's auditorium, wearing her cap and gown as valedictorian. The same auditorium where she'd once been publicly questioned and humiliated was now filled with people celebrating her achievements. Fellow graduates, she began, looking out at the sea of faces. 3 years ago, I entered this school believing that hard work and dedication would be enough. I learned that sometimes it takes courage to demand the recognition you've earned. In the audience, she spotted her parents beaming with pride, Dr. Williams nodding approvingly, and Dr. Garcia smiling encouragingly. Some of you know that my journey here wasn't smooth. I faced challenges that had nothing to do with chemistry equations or molecular structures, but those challenges taught me something valuable. Our worth isn't determined by others' expectations. It's proven by our persistent pursuit of excellence. She paused, thinking of Mr. Whitmore, who had quietly taken a position at a different school after completing sensitivity training. To my fellow students who felt overlooked or underestimated, remember that your potential is limitless. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. And to those who have supported and lifted others, thank you. You are the reason excellence flourishes. As Maya concluded her speech to thunderous applause, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. What had started as a perfect test score had revealed imperfect systems, but it had also shown the power of standing up for truth. In the fall, she would begin her studies at the State University with a full scholarship, mentoring other underrepresented students while pursuing her own dreams of becoming a research chemist. The girl who had been told she couldn't possibly score 100% had proven that excellence knows no boundaries and had helped clear the path for others to follow. 5 years later, Dr. Maya Johnson stood in her research laboratory at the State University, wearing her white coat with the pride of someone who had earned every accolade. At 23, she had just completed her PhD in chemical engineering and published groundbreaking research on sustainable energy solutions. On her desk sat a photo from her high school graduation, where she wore her valedictorian cords and smiled broadly. Next to it was a letter from a current Riverside High student who had received the Maya Johnson Science Excellence Scholarship, a fund established in her honor. Dr. Johnson, read the letter, thank you for showing me that it's possible to succeed even when people doubt you. Because of your story, I never gave up on my dreams of becoming a scientist. Maya smiled, remembering her own journey from a student whose potential was questioned to a researcher whose work was reshaping her field. She had learned that true success wasn't just about individual achievement, it was about opening doors for others and creating a world where every brilliant mind could flourish. Her phone buzzed with a text from Keisha, now working as a nurse practitioner. Saw your research featured in the Journal of Science, so proud of my genius best friend. Maya laughed and replied, thanks. Still can't believe that girl who couldn't possibly score 100% is now Dr. Johnson. As she returned to her research, Maya reflected on how far she'd come. The challenge that was meant to break her had instead revealed her strength, and the discrimination she faced had ultimately led to systematic changes that helped countless other students. She had proven that brilliance comes in many forms and from many backgrounds, and that truth, like talent, always finds a way to shine through. If this story of perseverance and justice inspired you, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear that their potential is unlimited. Remember, excellence isn't defined by others' expectations. It's proven by your own determination to succeed.